the things that was a big deal when I was in high school was the idea of the solar panel road. So
okay.
If you replaced every highway in America with solar panels, then you would have enough to power the country. And so there's like these small communities in rural parts of, like I think like Wisconsin, where they have built small faux communities, fake like nuke towns, I guess.
Yeah.
With like
speed and aggression, gentlemen.
We should fail the class.
We should fail. Return to base.
But they've got a whole highway that's just these roads built out of solar panels that actually light up and like show directions and like have signals where it's like, oh, there's a deer ahead.
That's cool.
That'll pop up and stuff like that.
wait, there's a deer ahead?
That sounds like my father-in-law's Escalade. Like it has like sensors that like pop up and it's like, there's a deer here, there's a kid, and like 8 of the time it like doesn't see the deer, but like the other parts is like really cool.
Been problematic.
Yeah. I don't know if there's ever been kids like on
7
that's like detected, but it's like pretty cool.
Will survive.
I know there was I don't know if it was like that high, but there was like recently there was a deer that was like hanging out and it was like supposed to have seen it and it like didn't see it or something. I don't know. But
so basically what you're telling me is that we can't trust technology just in general, right?
Yeah, no, if I know anything from what we're talking about, like the 5G thing, it's like, dismiss it. Although today, on that note, I was wearing my analog, my automatic watch. I guess you have to call it analog because I also have a digital watch, which...
Wait a second. You've got a watch on each hand, dude.
No, just
okay. I thought you were looking at your analog. You showed me the digital and I was like, holy, dude, come on, dude. Whatever.
No, so I had the analog on today because this one wasn't charged, which is like a weird thing to say about your watch, that it didn't have enough juice in it. But then I missed it all day. So like I don't think I can get off it. And like I think that also when I was wearing my analog watch, I would like feel like phantom buzzes, and I would like my phone would ring too, and I'd like look at my watch, and I was like, oh,
see,
this is not
I
doing
haven't
anything.
jumped off the diving board into the deep pool that is the Apple Watch, right? To add just another, part of my person that's digital.
They have a new one out, the Apple Watch. I don't know what it is.
Extreme.
Ultra. I think it's Ultra.
Oh, okay.
And it's like $800. Wait, is it not?
I don't know. Okay. No, I was saying it was like Ultra. He said Extreme. You said Ultra.
Yeah, exactly.
I'm gonna say Ultra. I'm gonna go with it.
Okay.
It's like $800.
Nice.
And the battery lasts for like days, like a week or something. And the goal is it's like made out of a harder material, obviously fully waterproof, and you can take it out into the wilderness. And if you fall off a cliff, it'll be like, hey, this dude fell off a cliff. And then it'll automatically alert the authorities for you. Yeah. So that's
I love how that seems to be like the goal with like wearable technology is like we want to enable you to do like anything
extremely
that you want.
Dangerous things. Yeah.
but we don't want you outside of like if you still need help, you should be able to get it. Like you should be able to go biking, down like a 50-degree incline or whatever, and like go 128 miles an hour. And then when you fall off, it'll detect a crash and like it'll call somebody. And you don't have to be alive to do it. And like you can do anything you want.
Right. Yep.
You don't need to alert your next of kin or anything because your watch will do it for you.
It's like
bing bing. It will. It'll buzz SOS.
It just
I'm like all in.
Text your wife the contents of your will.
Right. It's like this was his last will and testament. He didn't make it. Like the news is broken through like an alert, like a push alert. Like you just get it. Like
ding ding. Rip.
It just opens with I'm sorry to have to tell you this, and then the rest of it is hidden behind the rest of the notifications, so you can't even tell without opening the app.
Unlock.
What is it trying to tell me? Goodness.
So I'm all on board. I'm all about
You're all for it.
The digital thing, because like now I've like grown accustomed to it, and I've thought about this a lot. Like when I work out now and I'm not recording it on my Apple Watch, I'm like, did it even happen?
True.
If I don't get to that like 30-minute fitness sort of like, hey, you should be moving, because I said that it was maybe arbitrary like what it said to do, and like now if I don't hit that, I'm like, oh, I'm kind of a skis. Like I'm not doing my full potential.
It's like additional gamification, right? It's giving you goals that provide like these serotonin hits that you wouldn't usually get for accomplishing them, so you actually feel like you've missed out on that serotonin if you didn't wear your watch, right?
Right. So I gotta remind myself, no, it like still counts. Walking around. So
would you be the kind of guy? I was about to say the kind of dope, which is a very mean thing to say.
Kind of rude.
That would be very rude. And also
talked to Brendan in like 2 months.
Yeah,
call him a dope.
And also, it would have changed his answer potentially if I would have called him a dope for it. Would you be the kind of individual person, they them, who would wear Google Glass?
I don't know.
Or an equivalent.
I think
right? So because something
like
that's
if there was like
let's say it's better executed than Google Glass.
Okay. Yeah.
It's like Samsung Glass.
I had high hopes. I have to admit, I had high hopes for Google Glass when it came out. I was like, I would like to know how much these are. And so, I mean, I'll never be able to afford them until like the Model 8 or whatever in like 12 years or whatever. But I would like to know what it's starting at and like if it would be attainable. Because it just like, and it promised the world, right? It was like, you can see like Google Maps, all over the place. You can like see like notification. I mean, it's like, what everybody is like kind of like fantasy about like integrating the internet into real life would be. So yeah, I think that I would have done that, but now I feel like I wouldn't, just because like I really like my Apple Watch, but I think it's as far as I'll go. Like I'm not going to get like the chip in the back of my head that gives you internet.
That was actually the next thing I was going to ask was if you'd get the implant.
I'm not about that. Like I think that this is about as far as I'll go, and I think after it like dies, because I mean eventually batteries run out, but after it dies, I think I'd evaluate like, do I want to do this or like get like an automatic diver's watch and just kind of like ride out and like have like an automatic watch, or do I get another one? And that was the thing today. I was kind of like, I don't know, like it was really nice. It's really nice to have it, and I feel like I'd have to at least like kind of get a different sort of rhythm with technology to like not have it, because it was super useful just to see like, oh, what's going on? Like, or if I get an alert in the car, I could just take a little glance and like not pull out my phone and just kind of see, oh, who is messaging me or something.
Which way, Western man?
So on the topic there of automatic watches, I watched a video on YouTube today that was an interview between like this watch channel and
I thought you were about to say this watch and this other guy. It's just like this guy just talking.
And two watches walked into a watch bar, and they had a spring.
Oh no, they had a great time.
I love that. I love that. Every part
anyway,
about that
this interview between these like watch nerds and Dave Portnoy, the founder of Barstool Sports, and he got in a lot of controversy a couple months ago because he launched his own watch company and his own watch, and it's all because he was in Detroit one time and somebody gifted him a watch just like on the street. Gifted is, I'm sorry, like that's like one of my pet peeves. Like gifted is not. The journalist is on the pod tonight, folks.
No, it's true. The editor.
Yeah.
Okay.
The editor is here.
They donated a watch to a person worth $100 million, and it was
not the watch, the person, to clarify.
Yes. Oh yeah, no, that's a big clarification. So anyway, he was inspired by this. He grew to love the watch. He's like, you know what, wouldn't be that hard for me to make a watch, and so he created the Brick Watch Company, because his whole thing is I built Barstool brick by brick, which is pretty corny if you ask me, but the problem was he did a bunch of research. I'm not convinced he did that much research. He was not aware that there is a rabid underground watch community that was ready to tear him apart the moment that he entered the market, which they did. Wow. So he entered the market with a $2,500 watch. What he didn't realize is there is not a $2,500 watch. And the guys on the podcast explained to him there is the kind of tier that's $1,000 and below, and then there's the kind of tier that's like $3,000 and above. Because if you start spending $3,000, you can buy like an Omega, which is like a very, very nice. That's like a James Bond watch. You know what I mean? And it goes up from there. So he just happened, and he's like, I didn't really care what I put the price at. I put a lot of my own money into this. I'm not trying to make it back. But he just kind of randomly picked like $2,500, which is the one price range where watches go to die. And the watch community is like, you just like bought these parts on AliExpress and threw it together. You're a fraud. This is a cash grab. And he's like, yeah, I was not aware of like the shark infested waters of the international watch community I was trying to get into.
Let's just talk about any community whatsoever has its
absolutely.
gatekeepers, regardless of what it is. It could be, anime. It could be playing cribbage, right, on a cruise ship. Your gatekeepers are there, and they're going to try to prevent you from doing so, because of their pre-established ideas of the whole situation. So I don't know. That's something you got to watch out for.
Coffee,
specialty
coffee, gatekeepers.
Tabletop board games.
It's true, except for so this weekend I went to a tabletop war game convention at a VA in Lansing.
Wow.
VFW.
Sorry,
Okay.
VFW,
Not the VA.
I was about to say
They don't have an event
Went
space.
to
They're like, yeah, just walk around the
Cafeteria at the
guys
VA
in
hospital.
the wheelchairs.
yeah. It was the Veterans of Foreign Wars, and goodness gracious, it was some of the most accepting, cool dudes I've ever met at that place. A bunch of older guys above the age of 50, all just there, happy to see somebody young getting into the hobby. It was a good time.
That's awesome.
Yeah,
what was the
great.
demographic mix? Would you say?
What do you mean, like from an age, a color,
Age, income?
I would say actually my biggest surprise was, as you might expect, it's about 99% old white men.
Yeah.
I mean, who would not be surprised by that? But I would say it was a vast difference in economic ranges.
Okay.
Right? There's definitely like older guys who had made a ton of money, and this is sort of what they do to like rest on their laurels, and then just dudes who, are average working Joes who just like to do this on the weekend. So
there's like a Ranger parked out front next to the Bentley kind of thing.
It's true. It's true. Or, the Toyota 2010 pickup, just hanging out.
Yep.
Driving.
Which you may not know, that's an expensive vehicle right there. That's one of the with the market these days. A 2010 Toyota.
Like Josh is now coming full circle, and he's like, that's one of those like 3,000 and up.
Oh, there you go.
Vehicles,
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying?
Yes.
He's like, I'm gatekeeping here. Like that's one of those. You wouldn't know that because you're not initiated, but like I know.
And so as long as you don't pretend to know, we're gonna be cool. But if the second you try to break into my space, I swear to God,
I will break your kneecaps.
I will kill you. Now, guys, frickin' A, we got Brendan Clarey on the podcast today.
Who is this man?
What's his deal? He's a journalist. He's a cool dude. Guy we grew up with in college. I mean, we didn't grow up with him, I guess. This is a good question.
It feels like we
did,
did, though.
Yeah. In college, you do a lot of growing up, right? Yeah,
I got taller.
Yeah.
It's true. Wider, got taller, wider.
Yeah.
Yes, I could say. Well, actually, you've gotten significantly skinnier.
I got thinner actually during college. I think.
That's awesome.
Yeah.
For those of you on the audio podcast, you're missing out because Brendan's looking great.
Mm-hmm. He's looking just.
Oh, thanks. Got my hair cut today because I was like, I'm going to Monomaniacs tonight, and they're probably going to want to do video.
And you can only do it once, right? You're only on Monomaniacs
once or twice or maybe 3 times.
Yeah, maybe even up to 5.
Brent Cohen.
Yeah, that's true. It's true.
Yeah, Brent Cohen's going to. He told me he's got big plans to do like 100 of these.
Oh yeah, is that the plan?
No, he didn't tell me that. I'm putting words in his mouth.
He has not informed us.
Well, yeah. Well, I mean, he's just being presumptive again, which is just so brand.
Yeah.
I mean, but who cares? He's not going to listen to this anyway. I can say whatever I want.
Yeah, probably.
He is listening. He told me he's just a few episodes behind.
Oh, okay.
I think he listened.
Okay.
That sounds like
Nolan episode.
He'll get there.
That sounds like something where you like qualify it and pretend like you're listening, but say you're a few episodes behind so that people don't ask you questions. Yeah. To be specific. Yeah.
It sounds like that's what journalists will do. They'll say like I'm polishing it, but what they're in fact doing is getting the reporting together and then they're writing it.
Yeah, it's like I have not yet called anyone. I'm polishing it.
Yeah.
And so like that's when somebody says that I'm like, okay, well, it's still due. And I basically don't plan on content coming in until like I don't plan on content until I see it now, and that's like the way to go. But anyway, I got
looking good.
I got my haircut in Detroit by this guy who's like full Italian. Like he is just so cool, and like he kind of speaks. True. Yeah, I mean, kind of. He'll just say like at the end of something, and it's just like really cool. Like I did. Yeah. He's like, yeah, you're like, yeah, too. And I'm like, okay, yeah. I'm like, I'll have to see what my wife thinks about it. And he's like, yeah. And I'm just like, okay, this is cool.
This is the greatest experience.
So my question is just like, do you feel safe while your hair is being cut and his arms are moving so frequently and moving around? Do you feel as though at any point he could just, straight up cut a line right down your head,
Well, so he's got very, very still hands. He's an older guy. I don't know how old he is exactly, but he's an older guy, and his hands are just very
so
steady.
You wouldn't know this because you don't know the group, but an older guy. Are you talking about somebody who's above the age of 50? Or are you talking about the 45 range? Because the 45 range is not as correct.
Straight up a 30.
I've got a lot of respect for my 40, 50, 60 range. I'm talking. He's like 67. He's like 70s. I think at this point, maybe of that. So he's an older guy, but he's from the old country. Like he came there when he was younger.
Which reminds me,
he's got like a picture of Mary.
Why do Italians get a monopoly on calling their homeland the old country?
I don't think they do. Well, it's like the whole.
Well, if you said it, right? Like if I were to like the old country in reference to Ireland, right? Like where my ancestors are from.
Yeah,
they would be like, "Why are you mean Italy?" I'd be like, "No, Ireland." And they'd be like, "Why are you saying the Italian thing that Italians say?" Right?
Well, I think it could be the home country or maybe like the motherland. That's Russia, right?
Yeah, but that's Russia, right? Russia's got the motherland.
Yeah.
Germany has the fatherland, right?
Oh,
it's true. They've got the Vaterland.
No, that's an interesting dynamic.
Yes,
right there.
Exactly. Yeah. And then Italians have the old country. I don't know. I don't know where.
What do you get if you come here from like China?
You get to call people guilos, I guess. I mean, I think that's what you get to do. All right. I think that's you're right as a Chinese American.
Or Mexico. I guess you get to
call people gringos. I guess so. That's the same kind of situation.
All right, that's fine.
Yeah, I mean, everybody's got something.
No, I feel like Europe is they don't have like a cool thing for like I feel like from Ireland that's tough.
Oh, well, some people call it the continent, right? The British people say you're from the continent.
Yes, which is
broad. That's true.
Yeah, which is very broad, which sounds very British to do.
I feel like most of the time they mean France, though.
You're probably right.
It's like right across. It's like the closest part of the continent to us.
I think we're at this point, if there were British gatekeepers around us, they would be telling us we're speaking out of turn.
They'd be like, we're English in it.
If they find this, they will tell you that. They will like get in
if the country of Britain finds this podcast, we are doomed. Yeah. We are in a bad state of affairs.
They'd be like, after I finish my
Oh goodness, I'm so glad you're not an actor, Josh.
I think we are all glad. My wife is over there on the couch. She's also glad.
Her shake, the judgment coming from that which I agree with 100%. I feel like you keep Josh accountable and strong in that respect.
But she doesn't have a microphone, so she can't right now.
God bless our wives for doing that. God bless our wives for doing that, because I will frequently tell Katie stuff of like, it would not be that hard to be a stand-up comedian, like, and then try like a bit out, and then she's like absolutely, like, you're insane if you think that you could like actually do that. And I'm like, well,
I feel like we need to have the gatekeeper Joe Papalardo on now,
absolutely,
to say, hey, it is hard.
You can't, right? So,
maybe
but anyway,
he would agree. I don't know.
Yeah, but I think it's like common for a guy to be like, oh, it wouldn't be that hard to like. Two things that I think wouldn't be that hard: wielding a battle axe, right, to cut a watermelon in half, right? Probably would be hard.
That's not that bad.
Yeah, but it probably would be hard. Probably a lot more skill.
Yeah, harder than you think it is.
Dodging someone with a battle axe who's coming for you, I don't think that would be that hard.
That seems easier. I've often thought like dodging out of the path of someone who's about to shoot me. Mm-hmm. With a shotgun in particular. Not that I'm dodging the bullet, but you think I could like jump out? They're standing 10 feet away from me. Mm-hmm. They've got a slug. It's not birdshot.
It's a very specific scenario that Josh has cooked up.
I've been pondering on this.
This is a prepper kind of mindset.
Yeah.
Preparation of.
That's right.
What he's thinking at like 11 p.m. He's like trying to fall asleep. He's like,
so if he's at the bottom of the stairs,
and it's a Tuesday, and I had just Taco Bell for dinner. And I'm able to.
And I'm standing there in my underwear, dual wheeling my HK and my Glock, which is. Anyway, speaking of being in his underwear, if you are missing the dulcet tones of Shadrach Strehle this evening,
it's true. Yeah.
Actually, I did see him when I picked up the microphones from his house. He is not in his underwear, but he is. Definitely.
So he's free balling and going commando.
I didn't ask. I didn't look. I kept my eyes above neck level.
That's good. That's good.
But
it's just a courteous man thing to do.
Yep. It's a couple straight bros. We don't look. Mm-hmm. But anyway, he is under the weather. He is sick with something, and we wish him a speedy recovery.
It's true. Well, hopefully we'll have him on the next podcast. But I don't know. He's in. He's not only is he sick, but he's on bad behavior right now.
Well. Yes.
Yeah, I mean, after everything,
we don't need to get into the details.
We don't need to talk about what happened in the DMs.
May or
we don't
may
need
not.
We don't not. We
Pictures that may have been sent.
Exactly. The blackmail that may or may not have been threatened.
Yes.
You know, that kind of thing.
Allegedly
just so you guys, don't worry about it. The correct authorities have been contacted. Okay, that's they'll take care of it from here. So no stress. No. So he's not here, which is okay. This is actually the first episode of the podcast without Shad.
Yes.
It's a fun fact.
Right. And I think the common thread there is me, because I was there for the ones without you, although I was not on the mic most of the time. But here we are understaffed, and so he misses out on getting to chat with you, of course, which he is very bummed about. But anyway.
Well, next time.
Yeah. Well, so here's the thing, though, is that this is what we use to really get him back, because it's if we had just a really sweet, wholesome conversation with Brendan, a good old friend of ours,
he would feel so left out.
Yeah, exactly. He would just be sitting at home.
This is about to be so wholesome right now, dude.
Get ready, dude.
All
right, buckle up. Okay, what is the show about, Dylan?
Oh, what's the show about? Holy smokes, guys! I mean, this show is about something. I know some people say it's not. Those people, to them, I say, well,
they say it's like Seinfeld. They say it's like, this is the show about nothing.
Respectfully, sir, I
disagree.
Yeah, no, I mean, we threw that around for a little bit about the show about nothing.
Yeah, it's been done.
Yeah, but it's been done. It's been done by maybe one of the most important pieces of media in American history.
So instead, we chose to do the opposite of that, which is a show about everything.
Well, or about one particular thing
at a
very
time.
Focused.
Yes.
Right. So we call the show Monomaniacs. What we do, we bring somebody on here. They talk about their monomaniacal obsession, the thing that they're super interested in right this second. Right. We want to capture that, just that young, dumb sort of optimism about being an expert on a topic that they really don't know anything about.
That the moment when the birthing canal opens and you kind of like your head kind of crests into a new hobby.
Yeah. That exact moment.
Yes.
Yeah.
When you're emerging and all you see is light and joyfulness.
And you don't know what it means.
And you don't know.
It's just shapes and colors.
And you haven't yet met.
And there's a lot of screaming. And then you realize it's you.
Well, and you don't know the gatekeepers.
It's true.
You don't know how much this hobby costs when you're like, I actually cannot afford to do this. I cannot get into automatic watches. This is going to bankrupt me.
It's true. It's true.
Yeah.
Aren't all watches automatic? Anyway, bring Brendan on to talk about what his monomaniacal obsession is. So, Brendan, what do you bring to the table today? What would you like to discuss?
Well, bringing to the table is an apt sort of description. Over Christmas, my loving wife Katie got for me the stuff to make baguettes.
Ooh.
To make bread.
Okay, yeah.
And
I am very interested at this topic, by the way. It's one of my favorites.
So that's been kind of my laser focus. Like, I'm gonna make some more starter tonight. I'm going to like sneak in like the baguette tomorrow. And I've done like one batch and like they turned out okay. Because we've just been traveling a lot and trying to like line up the whole thing is kind of
it's a process,
kind of a
right?
project.
You can't just decide one day to do
before,
baguettes.
Right. You have to kind of have like this whole sort of process. Yeah, and like special tools that I did not have, and then Katie got me.
So when it comes to so this is my favorite fact about making baguettes, right? So the creation of steam is super important.
You already know about this.
Yes, I do.
Oh,
I know something about it, right? Because my wife, of course, is a baker. She loves to bake things like bread. She's never done baguettes before. One of the ways that people sometimes create steam for baguettes is they get chains, like real life chains, and wet the chains and put them in the oven.
That is the most metal thing I've ever heard about baking.
So that's a thing that people do, specifically the French.
Like you're talking like metal, like the heavy, we're gonna rope up like an engine.
Yeah, we're talking
sort of
like
thing.
Jean Valjean in that scene at the start of Les Mis kind of situation, right?
Like the look down.
Yes,
scene.
exactly, with hauling those chains. So I imagine you don't have a chain set up going.
I don't have chains.
Okay.
I don't have chains. I've got like a little tiny kitchen here. Well, it's not a tiny kitchen, but it's kind of like
you do have chains, but they're for other uses within the home, right?
Yeah.
They're not. You've got your usual home chains.
Yeah, a lot of chains just laying around.
We don't need to get into what that is.
No, exactly not.
A basket of chains here, and Nora has like for Christmas that's all she got was like 8 different kinds of chains.
I thought it was
No. what I did and what the recipe calls for is you just put a cast iron pan in the bottom of the oven, and then you boil water, and then you just kind of dump it all in when you put your bread in.
Okay. Yep.
And I did that, and it seemed to make a very, very crispy crust on the outside.
So a couple of questions to follow up on this journey of yours. So first off, have you been a bread guy for some time, or is this your introductory into the world of breads?
That's a good question.
Is it breadman?
Breadman?
The term.
Bread pan. Bread pan. Okay, funny story before we do this.
Bread person, I guess, is gender neutral.
Okay.
Yeah, bread. So the first off, I can't really say bread without like doing like this weird thing with like the B and the R. I don't know why. Like I'm bread. I just default to that, and I think I can. Bread.
Now, when you were doing that too, you were doing the hand motions of a certain Italian barber.
It's the barber. He rubbed off on me today. I got to do more of that.
Oh goodness!
So
I hope you give him a good tip. Is all I'm saying.
I mean, what do you do this?
Did you leave him a good review on Yelp?
I haven't done that yet, but I
you plan to.
It's like a smaller business there. It's just him.
Yeah, you got to help the community.
Yep, that's right.
Anyway, so you were saying.
So just to preface all this, you asked if I've been a bread guy for a long time. In high school, I like going into high school, like I was homeschooled, and then like I did like some kind of assessment before I even went into high school, and I like must have spelled my name wrong or like it was very unclear. So I started getting all this mail for Brenpan Clarey instead of Brendan Clarey, and then Brenpan, and then all like my family started calling me Breadpan, so that kind of made me think about that. So that was good. Like, that's good. First off, yes, I've been a bread guy technically since like high school.
Yes, exactly.
But I've had
the most
very
literal
limited
possible way.
yes. Like literally, this was kind of like an early calling.
Yeah.
And again, with like the
is what we call
Italian.
that.
Exactly.
In
the
literary community.
Yes.
Right. I should know that. English major and all that.
By the way, you cannot say that you're in the literary community. Okay? We are a very established group of individuals.
Yeah, we're gate.
These walls.
We're going to gatekeep out
are high.
Yeah.
Those of us in the marketing community use words like gifted. So.
Oh, okay.
No, and
cringe.
The worst kind of. I can get into that. Like you can't use the noun as the verb. Like it's disgusting. People do it all the time. Anyway, we are so in college I did do some baking of bread on the weekends. I had like a little what do you call it? The Betty Crocker cookbook that had like the white bread recipe. I'd make that, to great aplomb. People would, eat sandwiches on it or just eat it raw and that kind of thing.
I think I remember that actually.
Yeah, I make bread every once in a while.
I
did it on some internships too. I made some bread, and I think I would just like hand it out and eat it, and I like doing that. But it, I had like kind of that one recipe, and it was just like a normal sort of white bread. And then I think in Washington D.C. we had a very small kitchen, and I was like, I'm going to try to make baguettes. And I don't know how I did this, but they were just awful, like burnt sticks. I mean, they were like there was no like texture. I mean, it was just like they were this tall, and they were just like hard as rocks, and like somehow like just had no flavor. So I did not have a good track record with that.
So it became your white whale in a way.
It kind of did, and then I kind of last year I think, I guess 2021 now, I said I'm going to make croissants. I'm gonna learn how to do croissants.
That to me seems like the hardest bread.
Yeah,
like that is a complex.
It is.
That's like Fibonacci.
It was a very complex bread, and it's like you have to get your your yeast dough, like your enriched like kind of brioche sort of stuff, and then you have to do all that crazy stuff with butter, where you're like making the butter block, and then
pastry. You gotta
pounding it out,
marble it all out. That's tough stuff.
Oh yeah. It's tough stuff, and it's like very taxing in terms of like you have to wait an hour.
This is completely true. This is correct.
All right.
Me? I'm using random
No,
words?
he's talking to me.
Him.
He thinks that I don't know anything about baking.
I know you like.
No.
All right, never mind.
No, okay, all right.
Well, so technically, Dylan, is called laminating.
What?
True.
I think you.
True.
Yeah.
Wow.
Marbling is the fat that's in steak. Was marbling, I believe.
Yes, that's true. That's true. If only I could afford that kind of steak. Right? No, but so I'm laminating this, and it actually turned out.
Mm-hmm.
And so for some, and then I kind of thought, okay, if I can do croissants, I can do pretty much anything. which is a pretty, it's hubris. Like there will at some point come something that will like lay me low, and there has been, I'm sure, of like failures and. But I did that, and then before Christmas, before I even knew that my wife had gotten me all this stuff to make baguettes, I was like, I'm going to make homemade bagels, and so I was like really into that as well, and like that is really fun, but it's also kind of intense because you have to do it the day before, and then you have to really knead it hard. You can't put it in like your KitchenAid because you have to it's too tough for your KitchenAid, so you have to really work up the gluten and like all this kind of stuff, and made like this really sticky dough, and like you have to let that ride, and you just make the bagel shapes, and then I got to boil them before you bake them, and like all this kind of stuff, like 19 steps or whatever. But they turned out great, so I was like, I think I can do baguettes. And so, like 2 days after Christmas or 3 days after Christmas, whatever, when we were back from traveling to go see my family, I'm like, okay, it's time. So like make the starter, and they were not perfect. But they were a far cry from my first like baguette attempt. And they were delicious.
How long were they?
They were
like 6 feet, 7 feet.
What
are we talking?
Long. No, we're talking. I mean, baguettes. They're like a foot and a half.
Okay. All right, cool.
Okay.
Okay. All right. So
Wait,
we're getting started.
Yeah. Okay. I mean, because the true masters, the true French masters of baguettery, of course, they have been known to make mile-long baguettes. Miles long. Yes.
I think you
miles long.
Record to beat. Finish your apprenticeship as a baguetteur when you make a baguette as tall as you are. So
I heard it was as tall as the Eiffel Tower.
I was about to say. Yeah.
Oh.
I think that's really the test. Is if you can make one.
I think if we had a producer here today, we would look up to see what the world's record is for
longest baguette.
Can you look that up, Rachel, on your phone? Okay, thanks. Rachel's doing my job.
Does Rachel get credit as like kind of a producer?
She can have
we don't even give Josh credit.
She can have exactly as much credit as I get.
Oh goodness, I am interested to know though, and this is unfortunate because this is unpaid labor we've hoisted onto your wife.
Have you guys looked into the kind of like, I don't know the right word even for it, like this wacky world records of like, you have people doing ridiculous stuff, and then you like think like, okay, what's the biggest cup of coffee? And then you realize like some town like pooled all of their resources and had like literally like made like a pool-sized coffee cup, and it was like it's like 7,000 gallons of coffee.
However, there are many records out there which are super dumb and relatively easy to break if you spend a lot of time to do it. If it's like the most basketball dribbles in a row.
But you have to spend more time looking up the record to beat.
The thing is,
then you do like actually beating it.
Anyone who has a Guinness record has paid the Guinness Book of World Records to send a guy out and paid a significant fee, which I believe is thousands of dollars, to send guy out to watch you do it. And so that is how they make money.
How do you get to be the guy who like goes out to people, and like what are your qualifications?
I don't think you have to I think you have to be able to count probably pretty high.
Would have
maybe
at least,
a stopwatch.
Yeah, at least have graduated from the School of Hard Knocks. I think
working
first
thumbs.
And foremost, if you can do that,
I think you're baseline
halfway there.
Baseline English degree. That's what you need. Yeah. Okay.
English?
Rachel did.
You're saying
provide us that information. Yes. What are the numbers? Use your telekinesis with your wife. Yeah. There you go.
The longest baguette in the world is 400 feet long.
400 feet long. Wow.
400 feet long.
What was the other info there, Rachel? They made 66 feet of it per hour, which that is probably more impressive than the length.
It's true.
I would say.
So it was all one continuous baguette then?
Yeah. Yes, but I assume it was made by appending baguettes to one another.
Most likely. I imagine they put it through some sort of apparatus that would bake it as it cruised through it, and then
wait. Rachel knows. Hang on. Okay, so it was baked in a portable oven. So as to ensure proper crispiness on the outside and fluffiness on the inside. But I assume it was in pieces and then assembled. So I don't know. I don't know if that counts, right?
I don't think that.
So there's probably a record you could break there.
It's true. Well, this is what I'm thinking. You get a conveyor belt You know how
And you
pizza
have, like, an
ovens?
oven? Yeah.
No, yeah, pizza
That's what
ovens.
I'm
You know,
thinking.
you could literally just continue to make the baguette behind
Yeah.
it and just continue to add it on as it rolled through,
Well,
and bada bing.
You'd have to kind of like it'd be a whole because you do have to like get like
Dude,
the
what
like let
what
it set
worthwhile
out.
isn't hard work?
That's right.
Or doesn't take hard work to accomplish.
That's right.
Right.
What? Yeah, that's true. That's
Yeah.
true. And can you automate it? You know,
I think
actually,
that would take the soul out of it a little bit.
It's true. It's true.
I do
The love.
like there's this to a point. But at a certain point, it is like amazing to go to Costco and get the Costco pizza, which like nobody really worked on, like in terms of like actually
don't say that,
The
dude.
disrespect.
Hey, I love Costco
Yeah, me
pizza, and I love that it's like, you know, it is what it is, and I don't want anybody to change it. But I'm saying like there's like a beauty to that.
Yeah.
Like they have like the little machine that does the sauce or whatever, and I'm like I'm all for that. This is just the most amazing thing.
Watched an interview with the owner of Costco, or the CEO maybe, and he was talking about the $1.50 hot dog, which as you know, like they have not raised the price on that in like 50 years or whatever. Like that is the original price. And he said, yeah, we don't really make any money off of it, but the key in order to keep the $1.50 hot dog in the store was vertical integration. So they just make the hot dog now. They're like, we sell probably a lot of those.
Yes.
And in order to make any money, I'm imagining their margin is like 10 cents.
No, they don't even make any money anymore.
They just lose money,
they've crossed over to that.
Maybe they break even.
Because it's from a branding perspective, right? Like it's just like they're the place that has the $1.50.
This is a Costco hot dog.
I mean, they have not made that hot dog shorter.
No.
They have not made it less girthy. It is the same hot dog it's always been, and it's still $1.50. So that's
a good old dependable dog.
It's a
So that is
quarter pound, I think. I think it's a quarter pound hot dog.
I think so. Yeah.
I think you're right.
I think my other favorite Costco story, as a person from the Costco dynasty, right? You know, with a family who's worked in Costco for some time.
All of them.
The other fun story is that for a while they didn't sell Coca-Cola products and they only sold Pepsi products. And the reason is that they were selling primarily just Coca-Cola products, and then Coke said, "Hey, we're going to increase the prices on you." And they said, "Oh, we don't care. We'll knock you out. We'll kick you out of here." They're like, "What are you talking about? We're Coca-Cola. You guys got to budge on this." And they said, "No. In fact, not only that, but we'll take Pepsi, and we'll put up signs everywhere about how happy we are to get Pepsi, and we'll make it a whole thing. We'll make it a big old brand."
Experts in pettiness.
Yes, exactly. And then Coke was like, tried to call the bluff on it, and then of course they went and then now they serve both Coke and Pepsi products.
That is insane, because there are not a lot of places that do that.
No, and that just goes to show the sheer veracity
Yes.
of the leadership at Costco.
They
which is
own
like weirdly like pro. It's like a good thing in the capitalist sense, and also a bad thing.
Yeah,
it's like it's a weird combination. Of the two.
I think when I am purchasing a handle of vodka for $13, it's a good thing.
I think that if you purchase a handle of vodka at that size for $13, someone's soul was sacrificed for that, right? There was something that was evil was done along the way to make that possible. That is dark.
I don't know.
Magic.
I think of it like the pizza. I go back to the pizza, Dylan. Like if there's a way they can do it, for just but here's the thing with vodka specifically is that like it is literally ethanol, like chemically pure
it's a cheap
ethanol
thing to produce.
It is a corn distillate. That's it. You know what I mean? Like you can distill it 5 times and put it into the bottle, and like as long as it is alcohol. I mean, like vodka is so funny because it's just like pure. It's just like pure ethanol, and we're like drinking it in like our drinks and stuff, and like this is great. And it's like, well, no, okay, you just drinking.
It's just
like,
corn. Hey, I am.
It's like E85 without the 85.
Without the
it's
smell.
like the 15 there.
No, I am a Midwest corn-fed boy. That corn is mostly vodka.
You mean that vodka is mostly corn?
No. The corn that has fed me is mostly vodka.
There you go.
He's making a drinking.
Okay. Oh, he's making an alcoholism joke because those are so funny.
They're
Josh.
so funny.
That's
and
so
on point
funny.
And tasteful.
Yeah, that doesn't hurt people at all, Josh.
Let's go back to bread. So,
but before we do, we gotta thank our patrons. This is very important. We're at that part in the show. Thank you, patrons, for your contributions to this show. You help make it possible. could not do it without you. We couldn't, have this awesome studio set up, new studio, Josh's living room. I don't know if we'll stay here, because we might just buy a bigger one next week.
Yes,
who knows?
That's right. Bigger house.
Who knows? But sincerely though, thank you so much. Thank you especially to our top tier patrons, Sammy Roberts, Joe Papalardo, and Zach and Amber Strehle. You really helped make the show possible. Unfortunately, I realize now that all the questions from the $10 patrons are on my phone. And we are using that to record at the moment. So
next week we'll double up.
Yes, we're gonna have to spend a lot of time on questions next week, which is okay.
So are the questions? They're not like are they bespoke to me? Like they know that I'm coming because I'm unfortunately I'm not in the upper echelon of patrons.
No, I mean we sometimes they do. We'll inform people if we have enough lead time. We'll inform people on exactly who's on the pod, and then they can give us questions for that person. If we don't have a lot of lead time, like a case with like you, we're unable to send that notice out.
Got it. Sorry, that's like the journalist in me. Like I wonder like what the situation is there because sometimes
and hopefully next week we'll have Scott Bertram on.
Yes,
of Radio Free Hillsdale fame and many other podcasts. If you're interested in sending questions to him. Yeah. There's some lead time on that. And if we don't have him next week, we will have him very soon. He's definitely in the pipeline.
Yeah. I have texted top tier patron Joe Papalardo, and I said, hey, we're on the air with Brendan Clarey. If you have any questions, text me.
Oh, no.
So we will see what happens. Now, his phone is on, like, deliver quietly or whatever, like that mode. So he might be doing a comedy show at this moment.
At this very moment.
Exact second. Yes.
Yep.
Yeah, that's, like, my worry, though, is that he'll, like, turn his phone on and like say, okay, like roast Brendan Clarey, like you don't even have to know who he is. Like that's like my fear anytime I like enter a studio is like I was telling Dylan this, like I have like, this sort of mental like block of like, oh, I'm sitting down and I'm doing something where we're talking like on the air. Like I've worked enough. Like I worked at a radio station. In between my sophomore and junior year of college, and I was paranoid to like go in there while that light was on, like on air. I'm not
Hang on, he texted
gonna
back.
go in there, and I also I had that experience in New York where I was on Fox, and I was like, I'm gonna be a meme, so I don't want to say.
Okay, I have a couple questions here from Joe, but before that, I want to mention that Brendan Clarey was on, I believe, Fox Business with Stuart Varney.
It was Fox Business with Stuart Varney.
I mean, that was pretty sweet. What was that bit about?
It was about Harvard. It was about a piece I wrote for the New York Post.
That was awesome.
When I was an intern there.
It is.
I have never really watched the clip all the way through with me. It's out there.
I've watched it like 6 times. Dude. I don't know what you're talking about.
I'm glad. I can't because I like it. Just like I associate like so much of like this nervousness and the backstory behind that too. So I wrote that piece. The Fox producer like that night. Like after it was published, was like, "Do you want to come on the air tomorrow and talk to Varney?" And I was like, "Yes, absolutely." Like that's
of
what
course.
journalists like. You want fame.
You have to.
Like I'm young. Like this is great. I like went like I did today. I went and got a haircut because I was not presentable.
Let's go.
I'm serious. And like the Russian barber was like, "We like Putin because he brings the past and the future together." Wow. He's like telling me all this stuff. I'm like, dude, I did not ask.
You're like, so I'm going on Fox later. Do you want me to? Tell them that?
I always tell hairdressers when I'm like, gonna go on the air, and I'm like, don't mess this up for me. Like, there's a lot of pressure because like this. It's just what I'm thinking, and I have no filter for people. I mean, I just tell everybody everything all the time, and so then the next morning I wake up and they're like, do you want us to send a car for you? And I said, yes, absolutely. I would love to like go on the surface instead of taking the subway with all the other plebes. But what I didn't think about was that there'd be all this traffic. So I had never driven in, so I didn't know that like New York City is just terrible in terms of traffic, or it was. I don't know if it is now.
I'm sure it still is. Probably has not.
I'm sure it still is. And
New York, baby, the more it changes, the more it stays the same. Am I right, brother?
Gabagool.
Yeah. And so I'm running late, and there's nothing I can do about it. I'm not driving, but like I'm like 15 minutes late now, and I'm like losing my mind because like I'm not only am I gonna make myself a meme, and like people are gonna record me to like some music they've auto-tuned or something like. stupid intern says the dumbest thing you've ever seen on Fox Business. Like, it's on CNN the next day, and I'm like, have to hide my head in shame. Like, this was before even like mobs were like a big thing. I was like, this is awful. And then I get there, and they're like doing like the hair and the makeup. I looked awesome. They paint you up and everything. It's great. It's like the only time I've worn makeup. And then they get in there.
That we know of.
Don't do that look. Don't do that look. So then they get in there and then I don't remember anything.
Just an empty blank space.
Empty space
in your memory there.
Like it was. Yeah, but then when I watch it, I'm like starting to like remember that, and it's kind of like the same way. I feel like to the trained eye, which most people aren't. To the trained eye, I was like the deer in the headlights. Like the producer could see, like this kid is like just not.
They probably get a lot of those though. So if I had to guess,
probably. But are they like in the studio with Stuart? And I don't know. Like it was
a bit tougher.
It was it was probably, no offense, it was probably a slower news day. And like, let's grab this kid, let's throw this in.
I'm sure that it was, but even that, I'm like,
that's an awesome opportunity to have.
It was great, but now I'm like, okay, this is like heavy duty. Like, I can't be in the car at any time beforehand, and I got to get my makeup on. I'm just but even so, I'm like,
that we know of. Okay,
so before we move on to the questions, I want to real quick reiterate: if you join the Patreon, this is a couple of the things you get access to. You get access to the episodes early. That's pretty sweet.
Yes.
You get access to the Patreon exclusive episodes.
Pure gold. We go a little off the rails.
We go a little off the rails. It's uncensored.
Yep. You can say, never mind. I'm not going to make Shad go through and bleep out everything that I could say. You can say some words if you want to. You don't have
if
to.
you want, you don't have to. We're all about making you comfortable.
Yes.
Right. It's all about a comfortable, safe space. Yep. Here on the podcast. At the and that's the $5 tier. If you're interested in listening to those episodes, it's $5 a month. At the $10 tier, you can send us questions that we will answer on the podcast, as previously alluded to. And so we got questions from Joe Pappalardo.
Yes.
So what do we got from the boy, from the king?
What do we got?
I appreciate Joe Pappalardo taking a break from his comedy show, which he is, I'm sure, doing in order to. He responded within
2 minutes?
1 minute.
No, it was 1 minute.
All right.
It was like a minute.
Okay, so
maybe 40
questions
seconds.
for Brendan Clarey. First question, there are 3. Do you miss the mail truck?
I do.
Yeah.
I do. For context for our
Please.
listeners, I had a 1983 mail Jeep, mail truck, and it was phenomenal. I got it on Craigslist for $800.
It was orange?
Bright orange.
It wasn't originally. We got it from a guy who used it to haul maple syrup at his wagon, or as a wagon on his farm. Like he used it to like haul maple syrup around his maple syrup. Like
what is it called? A farm?
Like
a maple syrupery? A syrupery?
Yeah, maple syrupery. Like a syrupery. So it was a syrup truck, and so I think there's probably like all this like sap and stuff in the back, and my brother like literally. He welded the frame together. He like got underneath it and he welded bars to like make sure that it was like structurally sound. I mean, And then we scraped off what seemed like house paint that was like just all over the top of it.
Williams.
I'm not even kidding. Yeah, Sherwin-Williams, like this awful teal color. And we scraped it off, and then we spray painted it bright orange because I'm like, if we're gonna, go big, or if you're gonna do it, go big or go home. And so we spray painted it bright orange, which is actually surprisingly easy. If anybody wants tips on how to spray paint their car and make it like look somewhat decent, don't talk to me. Talk to my brother because he's done it like 2 or 3 times now. Like the white van that we had in high school, we're like, okay, this is like people are making a lot of jokes about driving a white ass to school. So what we do is we put a blue racing stripe down the middle of it, and now it's cool, right?
There you go.
Yeah. So we did that. He painted his Jeep. I mean, it was great. So, so we painted my Jeep, and that thing was like, it sounded like a B-52 bomber.
It was awesome.
And you got it up to like 45 miles an hour.
It was cold as hell.
It was very cold. I have some very fond memories in there of just kind of rattling down the road. But I think my fondest memory, and I will reminisce a little bit, was out behind your apartment when we were cooking. We were roasting coffee beans with a butane burner and like a pot.
Propane
in the back because it was kind of raining out, and so we were like in the back of the Jeep. I was smoking a pipe, And the cops.
It's probably a fire hazard.
Brendan is looking like a hobo with a massive beard. His beard is smaller now, but it was huge back then. Yeah. Massive beard, this big shaggy coat that he always wore.
Like a wool hat or whatever.
Yeah. Like you were absolutely like a homeless dude at that point. And the cops rolled up like flashlights. And, they didn't pull their guns out, but it was like flashlights. And this was not the first time I'd been accosted by a police officer at Brendan Clarey's apartment, but we'll save that for another time. And they're like, "Hey, what you guys?
The Patreon episode.
What you guys doing?" And Brendan, he's all like jolly, and I'm smoking my pipe, and he's like, roasting coffee. And they didn't really believe him, so they came up and you explained the whole process to them, and I thought I
did. I don't remember that at all.
You did. And then I thought they would go away, but no, they still weren't sure. So they just stood there and watched us for like 20 minutes. They just stood.
I forgot about all that. Yeah, that's true.
And so we're like, okay.
True.
And he's got the pie. He's like whoosh, 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 back, and I'm puffing on my pipe, and they're just standing there looking super confused.
Honestly though, can you blame him? Can you blame him for the situation?
It was sketchy.
It's
pretty rough. Sketchy looking scene.
Yes.
I would have just arrested me right there. Figured it out later.
The funny thing is, we're so close to the police station. I'm like, hey, just let me finish this roast, guys, and then I'll go answer your questions. And then it's not that far.
Well,
we'll be
that
fine.
And roasting coffee, which my wife has dabbled in here. That's a very timely. You got to be on the ball with the timing, or you're going to roast too much or too little. So you got to stay dialed in.
You got to be. Yeah.
I have another question.
Hit it, dude.
This is a more serious one. The best part of fatherhood. What is that? You are now a father of 2.
I'm a father of 2.
Congratulations on that.
Those niños.
Thank you.
Niñas.
Yeah, niñas.
Both girls.
Ah, true.
It's okay. So I wrote a column about this for Father's Day.
Joe, there's a column about this, so go ahead and read it.
Hey, Joe, just to let you know, some people like us, we know when there's a column out. We read. There's a column there. We're not out there joking around.
I pay for the Detroit News, don't you?
Come on. Anyway, sorry. I had to keep him real fast.
You gotta keep those, the plebes out.
He would have been mad if I did it. That's why I did it.
No, yeah, right. No, and I'm trying to think about what I wrote there. There's such a profound there's so many profound things about having children.
Yes.
But I think oftentimes it's hard to sit back and say what are they, because you're dealing with this stuff every day of and now that I have a toddler, and we just did potty training. You're literally in the thick of it, in the crap, and it's okay, she's got to go now, or it's a big struggle to figure out how, and it's these things that are very important for kids to learn, but it just takes a lot of work. It takes a lot of time, this cleaning up and all this stuff. And so I think that it can be kind of hard to step back from that and say, okay, what are we doing here? And so to kind of get to the serious side is there's a lot of stuff that I believe, and I that should impact how I live, and that's what I want to communicate in my my parenting. And then you start thinking about okay, what about discipline, and how does that play into it, and kind of sort of structuring your life around those kinds of things. And again, I'm moving my arms to demonstrate,
as you should.
Don't go here, don't go there, but yeah, I think that those are kind of the sort of things that you kind of have to stop and reflect and say, okay, there's this bad behavior. How do we show her that we love her, but also have to deal with this. And then the other kid is 4 months old, and so she's just sitting there
all the time.
Just hanging out. Yeah, it's kind of doing her thing, and you're just you're
poop. That's all it is at that age.
It's
like a cow.
It's great, but and again, there's a lot of love. Yeah, and there's a lot of love for her, but it's it's just a joy to do things with your kids too, go to the bagel shop when you're not making them at home, and do baking with them and that kind of thing. So
good answer. We're gonna have to dig up that column and read it again.
Yes, it's true.
One more.
It's never he gets his 2. He gets his 2.
He gets 2.
Yes, it's already 53 minutes in. We don't have much. We don't have much time left. Or maybe. I don't know. I can't give an actual timestamp. Shad, censor the timestamp. Cut that out. Cut that timestamp out. Please. Okay, so I want to re-engage on a very particular topic. Yes. The topic of this episode.
The whale.
The whale of the episode, as it were.
Let's Get that bread. Which is going to be the title of the episode. Just
Brendan Clarey gets that bread.
Oh, man.
Yeah.
Yep.
Like Josh Liebhauser is going into this thinking as a producer, like, what can the headline be?
Exactly.
This whole time, dude. I honestly, I locked it in like half an hour ago. It's fun.
This man, he eats, he breathes. Just Monomaniacs.
Producing.
Yeah. No, Monomaniacs specifically. Right?
Yeah. Well,
Every morning he wakes up and listens to episode 1. Then after
a long night of thinking about the shotgun, after a long night about thinking the shotgun fantasy of like the guy at the bottom of the stairs or the top of the stairs, he's like, he wakes up, he's like, Monomaniacs.
Yes, there you go.
And then the next night he's gonna do it all over again.
I just listen. I just sing the theme song in the shower.
Gets you pumped, gets you ready to go. Yeah, I mean, I play it on repeat when I'm running. That's what I do to keep
the 15-second loop over and over
Singular
again.
obsession.
I alternate it between the beginning song and the end song because there is a variation and the end song. So hey, no. So, is this the pinnacle of your bread journey, Brendan? Are you going to be the guy who did baguettes?
Where are you going from here?
Yeah. What's the next step?
Yeah. I would like to. So the last time I did baguettes, I did not perfect them. They were too long. I don't think I did the dough quite right. That it was like too sticky when I was rolling it out, and so I couldn't really tell where the seam was and that kind of thing. So I would like to master those and make sure that they're like the beautiful ones that you see in the patisserie. That they have enough salt, like those kinds of things. I could see that there were some defects in the ones that I'd made, and I'd like to make them beautiful.
Wow.
And like be able to have like little bread bags that I got somewhere, so I can like give them to the neighbors and say, here's your baguette. And like we also gave you like a little bit of, ham, and I also got you a little jar of Dijon or something, and here's like your French lunch, like go for it.
Piece of cheese or something.
Mm-hmm.
Little cheese.
So you just want to be a neighbor pleaser,
I do like to please my neighbors. We've really enjoyed like making food and then like making too much kind of on purpose and then bringing some over to them. And then like I made scones and I brought them over to the neighbors and they're like, these are the best scones like ever.
Wow.
And I was like, yes, thank you.
This is why
I also
do
agree
things
with
for
you.
affirmation from my neighbors.
Yeah.
I do that as well,
it's
though.
true.
I will, we'll make food and make too much, and then I'll just bring it over to my plate, and I'll eat it.
Yeah.
It's a similar, and then I'm very happy with myself.
Yes, and then I'll put the rest of it in the fridge, and then the next day I'll then get it and then bring it to
yourself,
the microwave,
your
and
mouth.
then heat it up,
and you just keep going.
Yeah.
So to answer your question, like I'd like to perfect that, and then I think I kind of want to get back into the more patisserie stuff. Like I would like to do croissants. I'd like to specifically do like these spelt croissants from Claire Saffitz. And I kind of got myself into being a foodie over the pandemic. Like and Katie did too. She kind of radicalized me, which is great.
Get you a woman who radicalized you.
That's right. It happens to the best of us.
Yeah, like there's probably some other people who got radicalized a different way. I don't know. I don't know about that.
Assuredly.
I don't know.
Yeah,
actually, I don't think a single person got radicalized during COVID. I don't think that happened. Not a single individual.
No, okay.
Yeah.
That's really reassuring.
Stayed totally normal.
Yeah. I think that on the date January 6th, nothing happened.
Hey, that was only a couple days ago. What'd you do for Remembrance
What did you do to
Day?
remember?
What did you do for Remembrance Day?
Goodness.
No, man. So, it was. So that's like I would like to try those because those are apparently very hard, but they have like a great texture and like kind of flavor, and they're kind of savory. I've heard like that's like kind of how she describes them, and so I think those are kind of like that would be like if I master those, I think then it would be like okay, I've kind of done like that technical side of it pretty well. And I'd also like to make I don't even know how to say it. It's like some kind of couinement or something. It's like some kind of French pastry as well.
Couinement.
It's like couinement. Yeah, there you go.
No, I think it's QAnon.
QAnon.
QAnon. That's right. That's right.
Okay. So
So
what did you do on?
We were just talking about that.
Where were you on? Goodness.
What about radicalizing?
Yeah. So is the end goal here to be on the Great American Bake Off?
Ooh.
No, actually, I don't like any of the American.
No, I mean obviously
that's out there.
the British Bake Off is the ideal the platonic version of a baking show.
But let's be realistic.
I won't accept
here.
any. I won't accept any.
Yeah, but you're also not British, so I mean, unless you move to Britain, and you have to actually have a British accent to be on that show.
Say it after me.
No, I.
You heard
this is like Dylan. This is like watching The Crown for the first time and realizing that I am not part, like that I could never be royalty. You know, like that was like a profound like kind of thought that I had. Like there are people across the pond, you know, as they say, who are literally born into a family, and because of that, they are different and better than all of the rest of us.
That's how the Australians feel sometimes, though.
Just because we're Australians, we gotta.
Yep. That's a great way. A noble lineage.
Well, hey, you know.
That's true. It's true. It's noble lineage.
Yeah, and blue-blooded, the Australians.
yeah. And so I kind of had that profound, but the same thing is true of the show, you know, the British Bake Off. Like I'm not going to do it, and I'm not going to do any American version because, you know, it's not the British version. I will accept no substitutes. I will not watch any other cooking show. Really, that's the only one that can ever kind of bend my ear.
Are you telling me it's like that diners, dive-ins, and drives is not the best cooking show of all time?
It's
with Guy Fieri.
Literally, Guy Fieri with the frosted tips.
Yeah, frosted tip boy.
Yeah, frosted tip boy. No, my dad really likes that show. I always give him a hard time because really what it is Guy Fieri going to places where a producer has like lined up for him, and then he just eats there, and he just like groans and eats. He's like, oh no, this is very good, dude. And he's saying things like oh this is so good. He's like, what kind of sauce is this? And then
it's barbecue sauce.
Yeah, it's barbecue sauce. And then he'll like take that and he'll like, you know, make his own restaurant, and he like calls it horsey sauce, and you're like, oh,
horse you know, ass like, kicking ass sauce. Yeah. No, so one final thing about freaking Food Networks on the cruise, right? The on the cruise TV they had like 20 channels, and then a whole bunch of movies on demand. But one of the channels was Food Network, and it was like it was just the news, the sports, the Food Network, and the Home Improvement channel, HGTV. So then we vacillated between the Home Improvement channel and the Food Network, and it turns out the Food Network is literally 90% Guy Fieri shows. Like it's either Triple D, as they call it, or Triple G, which is the Guy's Grocery Games.
Oh no.
Which is basically like a chopped variant in which he's the lead.
Okay.
And then there's a show that's just like called Guy Fieri Backyard Cooking, which is just him in his like backyard barbecue,
literally cooking
with like 6 different chefs that are all just cooking different things. And he walks over, he's like, "What are you cooking?" And he's like, "We're making shrimp scampi." He's like, "It looks good," and then moves on to the next one. And there's no competition; it's just a reality show of them in the backyard.
He's eating. It's just Guy Fieri eating on camera, and like people love it. They're like, "Oh man, I wish I was Guy Fieri. I would love to go to that."
Yeah, I do believe though
for some reason,
that Guy Fieri does pretend to like the food that he eats.
Yes, absolutely. Because otherwise, there wouldn't really be a show. It'd be like, "Oh, this isn't that good." You know, like that's not.
It's always
impressive.
So maybe what it is that he's got this ability to like every dish is just like brand new, like this whole like
I think his palate is just dead. It's desensitized. His taste buds don't work anymore.
He's had enough Chipotle mayo.
Don't you dare insult Saint Fieri, dude.
Of Flavor Town.
Saint Fieri.
Of Flavor Town.
Beautiful. Goodness. All right, we're running out of time.
We
on the standard
episode. Banging up against that deadline, and I have to pee badly.
So I'm going to throw this over to you, Brendan. Do you have anything you want to plug before we move on to the Patreon?
I want to thank King Arthur's Baking Flour for making this possible.
Okay.
You got to have the right kind of protein content in your flour, and I wouldn't do it without them. They've also got a helpful tip line, so I want to thank them. They also gave me the recipe, which Katie like laminated for me and everything.
Two kinds of lamination on the show here. It is.
Yeah,
this is a laminate heavy show.
This is a Monomaniacs first.
I'm happy to introduce that. I'm gonna see if I can come up with a third way to use lamination, but it would maybe be a stretch. I'd have to fold it too far to really make it happen. It'd be Anyway,
I know there was a joke there that I was also trying to find. I was also trying to find it, Reddit. Don't worry about it.
I tried. It's we're there. So yeah, no, I would just say you got to use good stuff. You got to use good ingredients because your bread is what you use. So you got to get the King Arthur flour. You got to go hoity-toity. If not, then what are we doing?
What are we doing? You could also look up his name and find his writings and stuff like that if you're interested.
I don't believe they are his writings. I believe they're stories about him. He may or may not have been a mythological figure.
No, I think we were talking about Brendan.
I thought we were talking about King Arthur.
I was like, wow, like Josh really has like over.
Yeah, I was about to say. I was like, what are we? What's the
overhyped
here?
Me a little bit there.
Oh, is that serious though?
No, you can read my stuff. Get a subscription to the Detroit News. It's good, and that's how you read most of it. But some of it's out there, and the stuff from the New York Post is there, so you can read the stuff and watch the clip that I've never seen.
Yes.
So that's like a little.
Google Brendan Clarey Stuart Varney epic fail, and you'll find it.
Yeah.
Yeah, epic fail montage.
420
with
triple
the
X.
sound.
Gone sexual. Oh goodness! All right, thank you, sir. We'll continue this conversation on the Patreon.
Bye.
That sounds great. Bye.